Kakadosh Boker Or. Shavua Tov Masechet Zevachim Daf Kaf Aleph Amud Aleph Daf Yomi. This is Daf 21a. We were just speaking about right now the para. What does it mean right now, the para? Says the Gemara, Veha, right? The para, the tamuyim et minale, which means that it's going to be mitameh, the kohen which is burning it, right? After you use mikadesh davar aglav. The Tanam is we learned in the Mishnah. The tamim use kohen soref the para. So the one that used to burn the paraduma, they used to come and they used to put him in the mikveh. Yeah, in order to take out from the hearts of the tzedokim, they used to say, right, that the paraduma was done with the me'oraveh shemesh. What does that mean? Only with somebody that was pure, that it was already head of shemesh and not a tvul yom. So in order to make sure, 1 minute, please. Let me finish. So he says, in order to tell everybody, not like the tzedokim, they used to do a dafka with a kohen tvul yom. Meaning like this. Remember that a kohen becomes tameh. If a kohen becomes tameh, he goes to the mikveh. Going to the mikveh, that's called a tvul yom. He has to wait usually until Herev Shemesh. Herev Shemesh means when the sun goes down. And once the sun goes down, now he's going to be 100% pure. However, though technically, tvul yom, he already went to the mikveh. So the tzedokim said that they're not allowed to do it with a kohen, that is, unless he's going to be Herev Shemesh. The rabbis said that he's allowed to be done with a tvul yom. It doesn't need Herev Shemesh. So because of that, the rabbis, in order to get out of the tzedokim b'chavana, used to use a kohen that was tameh, that he just went to the mikveh, that he's a tvul yom.
Why would he do that?
Because b'chavana, to show that we don't pass him like the tzedokim. Meaning, even though you would say, listen, Rabbi, the chatchila use somebody that's 100% Torah. So usually we would do that. But here, because we always wanted to go away from the tzedokim, we always want to do the exact opposite. We want to show that what the tzedokim does is nothing. So therefore, if the tzedokim say that it has to be dafka person that's tahor, head of shemesh, bechavana, we're going to come and bring somebody tvul yom to show that it's kosher with the tvul yom. And bechavana to do it. Yeah? Shema mina, we learn from here. So he says, shelo pasla batuma, that they do not disqualify it, right, of tuma. That means when you have a kohen that he already did kiddush yadayim v'raglayim and he became tameh, he's only has to become tahor from tumato before the avodah, but he doesn't have to do again kiddush yadayim v'raglayim. So answers the Gemara, you can bring a proof from para duma, shane para, hoil d'tful yom lo pasibe. Meaning, the fact that a tvul yom is not going to be posel by regular avodah, meaning that by the para duma you could use a tvul yom. So because of that, we don't obligate you to do another kiddush yadayim v'raglayim. But you cannot bring me a proof that if somebody became tameh and now he comes and he does tefillah, that he doesn't need to do to it. Para duma is a different thing. It's a special. You can't compare it to anything else. So says the Gemara. So says the Gemara, if so, lamali de mekadesh. Why is it that Rabbi Chia but Yosef comes and he says that a kohen is going to be mekadesh b'klei sharet, even if it's going to be like kli chol, which is already fitting to that, right? So that means when we talk about the avodah paraduma, is going to be much less than another type of services in the Bet HaMikdash. So he says, but you could use even kli chol, right? So he comes and he says, ke'en avodah ba'inan. He says, really, we have to do the avodah the paraduma, just like all the avodot, just like what we're supposed to. So therefore, just like the dinei kiddusha, where we said by other things of kiddusha, the right has to be for the paraduma. So too, when he's going to be mekadesh kohen kli sharet, and inside, right, it's going to be different to do a tum'ah. So he says, why? Because the para is much more lenient, right, in this sense. So now he comes and he says this. We're going to ask a question. Can you come and you do kiddush yadayim v'raglayim in the kiyor? That you come and you just put your hands inside, or not? So he says, "Mimenu amarachmana v'lo betocho." Do we say that you have to sanctify your hands from it, meaning you're pouring water from it onto your hands? Or do we say, Odilma, afilu betocho, you put your hands inside and do tevilah? Remember, one more time, there's the concept called netilat yadayim, and then there's the concept called tevilat yadayim. Tevilah is like tevilah in a mikveh, immersion.
It's allowed.
Right? So therefore, I've got the kiyor. The kiyor has the water. Now, can I just put my hands inside and I just did tevilat yadayim? Or do I say mimenu velo betocho? Mimenu means I'm going to be kadesh yadayim raglayim from it. From it means that it's poured from it onto my hands. So that's the question. So Amar of Nachman bar Yitzchak says of Nachman bar Yitzchak, Tashema, we're going to try to bring a proof. It says, O shetaval b'mei me'ara. What does that mean? We're going to try to bring a proof that if a person came and he did tevilah, right, instead of using the mekior, he went and he did it mei me'ara, which is basically waters that come from a flow of a stream of whether it's here it's a cave, but really be'emet it could come from a stream or whatever it is. Ve'avad. Now he does the service. Avodato psula. So the Gemara is going to say like this: Hamikior is dumid mei me'ara. He says if right now, right, the mei me'ara, he's using it. It's like so he's saying if you did right now the tevilah, right, and then afterwards if you did the avodah, it's going to be avodah to keshera. So if so, the tevilah in a mekior is also going to be pasul, right? Because if you just told me right now that if you did tevilah b'mei me'ara and the mekior is like mei me'ara, so therefore obviously it doesn't work. So therefore, just like it does not help tevilah b'mei me'ara, so does not help tevilah b'mei kior. So says the Gemara, no, mei me'ara is a chidush. Why are we going to say mei me'ara is a chidush? Mei me'ara is the waters of a cave, okay. Meaning it's like pure waters. Yeah, shelo tomar, that a person shouldn't say kol gufot over behen. Yeah, David, 1 second. Can you do tevilah in mei me'ara? Yes. The Rizal's mikveh, where is it? It's in a me'ara. It's a cave, right? And you do mikveh. So he says, I can make a kal v'chomer. If you could dip your entire body in it, so kal v'chomer, you could dip your hands in it, right? So therefore, I would have thought to say that tevilah b'mimara is going to be kosher also for kiddush yadayim raglayim, right? So he comes and he says, right? That's why we had to actually come and say, no, that for tevilah yadayim raglayim, right? There's no kiddush, there's no tevilah. So you can bring a proof from there. So Amar B'chia bar Yosef, make your nifsalin lematirin, kematirin levarim kevarim. What does that mean? Right? We're talking about now pasulina. Right? We know that if waters were left over, it becomes pasul. So when you have mekior, it's going to be nifsalin for the matirin, right, on a certain time, just like the matirin themselves are going to become pasul, which is shkiat hachama. And it's going to be pasul for the evarim of the korbanot, just like the evarim itself is going to be pasul from a loto shachar. Okay? Meaning like this. The evarim of the korban, you're allowed to bring it the entire nighttime. Okay? Now, they become pasul by a muda shachar of the next day. The evarim are the different limbs. So you already brought the korban, you have the different limbs. So those limbs can be brought until a lota shachar. Once it becomes dawn of the next day, it becomes pasul. Just like it says, al magdal mizbeach kol halayla ad haboker, the entire nighttime. Now, Ruchia bar Yosef is coming and saying like this: the waters of the kior is also going to become pasul by muda shachar, right? For the kiddush of the ktarat evarim. So a kohen that's going to come and he's going to bring the evarim, he has to be mikadesh that are aligned with water, yadayim raglayim with the water, that did not become pasul be'amud shachar at the beginning of that day, okay? Which means that it was already going to be shakua in the bor. You remember, in order for it not to become pasul, they used to lower it down. And once it was lowered down in the pit, so therefore it wasn't considered lina, because it was all connected with all the water. And then they used to come and bring it back up. So he comes and he says like this. So he says that if it was going to be outside during the nighttime, so therefore you can't do kiddush yadayim raglayim anymore. So he comes down and he says like this. Rav Chasta says, Af lematirin and etzadin ela b'amud shachar kevarim. He says even according to the matirin, it's only going to be pasul by amud shachar, just like the evarim. Rabbi Yochanan Amar kiyor kevan sheshakao shuve maleu. Once it went back and down, you don't bring it back up until the amud shachar. Meaning, the second that you put the netilat yadayim downwards, you don't take it out anymore. So let's say a kohen comes in the middle of the night and he says, you know what, I want to bring the evarim. They already brought it down. That's it. They closed the Netilat Yadayim stations. Once they close the Netilat Yadayim station, they don't bring it up. So says the Gemara, but I don't understand. He says, well, you can't use it for the nighttime? Why not? You're right. Let's say I didn't take down the Netilat Yadayim station. I could still use it for the entire nighttime. I just can't use it in the morning anymore. But I could use it for the nighttime. Yeah? So he comes and he says, right, like this. He says, you're right. My We already did Rabbi Yochanan. So my enu ma'aleu namideka. What does it mean enu ma'aleu? La'avodat yom. It means that you don't bring it up for the daytime, but the nighttime you could use it. So yihachiv so hainu de Bar Yosef. So then it's the same shita as Bar Yosef. One more time. We had three shitot. The first shita was Amar Bar Yosef, right? That he says mikior nifsalin lematirin kematirin levarim levarim. So therefore he comes and he says it's going to be pasul from a lot of shachar onwards. The second one was even for the matirin, it's going to be pasul only by Amud Shachar. Okay? Now the Rabbi Yochanan comes and he says, once you took it down, you don't bring it up. Now, if you're going to tell me once you took it down, you don't bring it up, pshat is, the explanation is that it's still kosher for nighttime, but not for the daytime. So then that's like the first shita. What's he adding on? Okay, so says the Gemara on Kafala from Bet 21b. He says, Ika benal, the difference between them is gzirat shikua. Meaning, is there a gzira midrabbanan to do with bringing it down the entire nighttime? According to Bar Yosef, the reason why we don't bring it down in the middle of the nighttime is only in order not to be posel the rest of the waters. But according to Rabbi Yochanan, it doesn't become pasul, but rather there's a gzira shekazur chachamim not to bring it up, and we're going to explain why. Okay, but meaning they made a gzira, don't bring up the waters. So Rabbi Yochanan comes and he says, Kidesh yadav letumat adeshen lemachar en tzarich kadesh shekar kidesh mitchilat avodah. The tumat adeshen, one of a Kohen came and he did kiddush yadayim raglayim. Now he did it after alot shachar. Right, sorry, he did it before alot shachar. Right, for the tumat adeshen. Now after alot shachar, he doesn't have to do it again because since he already started the avodah, so therefore, right, he doesn't have to do it again. It's like you remember what we mentioned to do with netilat yadayim for silichot. A person wakes up before alot shachar. He does netilat yadayim. He starts silichot. We said he doesn't have to stop in the middle of silichot to do netilat yadayim again. After selichot, he comes, he does netilat yadayim without a bracha. So it's after alot shachar. He doesn't have to stop in the middle. So it's anything over here. You started the tumat adeshen before. So you did kiddush yadayim raglayim. You don't have to do it again in the middle. Right? Why? Because you already started the beginning part of the avodah. So bishum al rava demukim laihi kerebi lazar Shimon v'ha kerebi. It's good according to Rava. Why? He's going to say that Rabbi Yochanan, which is the third shita, that a Kohen does not have to do again the Kiddush Yadayim Raglayim, that's going like according to Rabbi Elazar Shimon. Because he basically said that En Linas Posel Bichlal in Kiddush Yadayim Raglayim, which means that not because it stayed there, whatever it is, it's going to become Pasul. And the other shita that it says that Be'emet it used to be stayed down the entire time was Shitat Rebbe, that according to him, Lina is Posel Kiddush Yadayim Raglayim. Meaning the fact that it passed nighttime doesn't make it Pasul that you did the Kiddush Yadayim Raglayim or not. But according to Abaye, that he's going to come and he's going to say, Demukim la Rebbe, so you have a contradiction in Rebbe. Kacha de Rebbe de Rebbe. Okay? Maishna hatan de meshakale. Why over there does he say that you have to actually bring it down, basically? You have to take down the kior the entire nighttime. And Maishna hachan, why over here you don't need to do that? Why don't you have to bring it down? We should have made a gezerah. Take down the Netilat Yadayim station underneath ground, right? The majority is in the pit, and that's it. So says the Gemara, he says, no, the Kohen, what he does is, he brings it up for the Kiddush of the Tumat Adeshen, and immediately brings it down. He brings it up, does Kiddush of the brings it back down. So says the Gemara, if so, right? He says, 1 second. If that's the case, he says, why doesn't he do it next day? If he only brought it up for 1 minute and then he brought it back down, so why can't he use it the next day? So he says, "En tzarich ul kadesh." You don't need to do it. Not that you're not allowed to do it. You don't need to do it again, because basically, since you already did it, you don't have to do it again. But it's not that you're not allowed to do it with it. He says, "Are you going to tell me that according to Rabbi Yochanan, if right now they brought it up in the middle of the night, it's still going to be fitting?" That's like Rav Chastadin, right? Why? Because according to him, it's not going to become pasul for anything, right? So he comes and he says, if at the time of Amud Shachar, it's going to be underneath ground, that's it. So Yika Benayu, the difference between them is mitzvat shikua. Mitzvat shikua is that it should be there the entire night underneath ground. Meaning, according to Rav Chasta, the cutoff point is Alot Shachar. Meaning, even if it was up above ground during parts of the nighttime, as long as during Alot Shachar it was underground, according to Rav Chasta, it's kosher. I can now use it for the next day. But he says there's still a mitzvah of shikua. Okay, what does that mean, mitzvah of shikua? He says that the rabbis instituted that it should still be underground the entire time. And therefore, even if it's going to come and bring it up, According to Chasta, he says they weren't machminim. You can bring it up and down, it's fine. As long as before Lot Shachar, it's going to be down, it's fine. You can bring it up without any problem. Okay, Meitve. So now we're going to ask the following question. Lo ayu ro'in oto velo shomim et kolo ad sheshomim kol shel etz shedatza ben katin muchani lekiyor. Do you know, we're talking about now the Kohen that he was doing the Tumat Hadeshin. Now remember, the Tumat Hadeshin was done before Lot Shachar. If it's done before Lot Shachar, you can't even see. It's even before Mishiaki, right? Meaning it's very dark. So they couldn't even see him, right? Or hear him until all of a sudden they heard the wheel. You remember we mentioned on Friday, we mentioned the concept of like, there was like an elevator type of a thing, that the elevator was used in order like a wheel in order to bring up and down this kior. So all of a sudden they used to hear it. And then they said, higia et kiddush adam raglaim min kior. Right? My love the misalek. He says, not kavanah that they heard that he was bringing it up. Right? Alma meshakele sotzmashma. That they did bring it down the entire nighttime. Meaning, if it's coming up, obviously it had to go down. So therefore, that's a proof that they did bring it down. Okay? So answer is no. The meshakele. What does that mean? The call that they heard was that he was putting it back down in the pit. Meaning the Kohen used to come, do kiddush adav naglaim, then afterwards put it in the pit in order that it shouldn't become pasul by alot shachar. So that's like who? Rav Chasta. Meaning, one more time, we had a havamina that it was already in the pit, and then they used to hear the wheel. So now the wheel, so then I thought that the pshat was the wheel to pick it up. He's saying no, the wheel was to pick it down. Meaning the entire nighttime it was above ground. He used it right now, and then he used the wheel to bring it down. So by alot shachar, it was down in the pit. So that's like Rav Chastan, not like the other shita that really meant it was to bring it up, and the entire nighttime it was already beneath ground. So says the Gemara, right? Either mishakale, if you're telling me it's bringing down, do you even hear it? He says that when you brought it down, it was like you didn't need the wheel to wheel it up. The wheel was brought, and then what you hear it when it's coming up. When it's going down, it's like a 2 second. Meaning like this: if I've got something here, to bring it down, you don't hear anything. It's a 1 second thing. When do you hear it? When I come and I start picking it up. When I start doing like this, like think of like you've got like the well, and I've got the how do you call it the bucket, and I'm putting it down. When you're bringing something down, it's a 2 second thing. You don't even hear anything. It's when you're bringing it up that you start coming and you start hearing a wheel, and you're coming in, you're doing like this. That's also only you'll hear it when it's going up, not going down. So says the Gemara, Mishakele b'gilgula. No, he also used to take it down also with the galgal. Meaning, even though I could have taken it down without the wheel, and then it doesn't make noise, he used to bring it down with the wheel as well. Lishnachrina, another version. What does that mean? He used to do it with the wheel. In order that everyone should hear it, in order that everyone should come. Meaning, again, according to the Shita, you're taking it down with the wheel. You didn't need the wheel to take it down. He did it purposely with the wheel. Why?
I heard it in Jericho. It made so much noise.
Exactly. I mean, it made so much noise. It was purposely. So that way it's like a call. Everybody knows to come. Everybody knows to come. Yeah? So it says the Gemara, why do I need that? Vahava Gavina Karos. Gavina Karos, he used to call the Kohanim every single morning for the Avodah. He used to get up and he used to start screaming. Imdu Kavan Kohanim Lavodatchem, Devidnu Chalechem, V'yisel Mamadchem. Right? Somebody once told me, somebody in the Bet Knesset, when they were younger, they swallowed a microphone. So therefore, because they have a very, very loud voice. In a sense, so they swallowed a microphone when they were smaller. Right? It was actually very funny. It's, amusing. Yeah. So what? They got one of these guys. You go scream. So why do you need to scream? If you have the wheel, and the wheel is making so much noise in order for everyone to come, so why do you need somebody coming and screaming to everybody to come? So he says, because they used to do two different ways of forms of wake-up calls, basically, in order to bring people. They used to use the wheel, which used to make a lot of noise, plus this guy coming and screaming, come, everyone, the Kohanim should come to the service, and the Levim for the Duchan, in order that whoever hears each one, they'll come. Basically, we used to have two different types of wake-up calls. You understand? It's called selective hearing. Some people, mamash, it's incredible. Some people, they won't wake up with an alarm, but their baby crying, they wake up. Other people wake up, they won't wake up for an alarm. Other people, a phone call, yes, this, no. It's very Depends on the person. What's it called? Cocktail effect.
This noise.
Very nice. I thought it was always. I thought it was called selective hearing because you only, meaning you only pay attention to a certain. Yeah. You go.
That concept we just talked about is important when you can kind of guy is a part of a minion look like.
So gufa, right? We're going back to what we said. You remember we spoke about that the kior had to have like 4 different spouts in order to have the kohanim coming and washing their hands and feet from it. The what? No. There was another person that he made the 12, but the first shita was 4. That's the minimum. Shneimar v'rachatzu menu Moshe, Aharon, and Banav. So it's Moshe, Aharon, and the 2 children. So that's 4. So Meitvi, we're going to ask the following question: Kol hakelim mikachin ben sheyesh ben revi'it or ben she'en ben revi'it u'bivlad she'ikle sharet. So here it says the question is it's mashma that you could put the waters in anything to do kiddush line, whether it's going to be big that it holds a revi'it or whether it doesn't. Now, 1 second, if it doesn't have a revi'it, how do you have 4 people coming and doing it, right? Obviously, it's impossible. So says the Gemara, and says the Gemara, Amar Rav Baracha bekodeach betocho. What happened is that you made a hole in the wall of the kior, and you put this kli inside the hole. So therefore, part of it is inside of the kior, and part of it is outside of the kior, and the water is going through from the kli to the hands of the. So in this item, then that's going to be okay. Okay, that's the only case that we're talking about. Okay.
Clear. I mean, we're talking. Keter is like a